So I'm sure by now y'all done heard about this. And then people wonder why others think that sports were staged. And this was the week that I was going to try to take off and not make a whole lot of videos. But people are showing they behind, and it's just the start of the week. So this is what happened, right? You had 3 runners from the continent of Africa, 2 from Kenya, 1 from Ethiopia, who were light years ahead of a guy in Beijing who's from China. And then, right as they get to the finish line, one of the guys from Kenya points at the Chinese guy as if he think he gonna win. Then all 3 of the African guys who were way ahead of him slow down and let him win the race. Now, before I finish this rant, I'm gonna say that I read this entire article, and even Chinese nationals think that the Chinese guy did something embarrassing and said that this run will go down as the most embarrassing run in the history of this well-known runner in that country. Because I think from a male standpoint, this guy is the best in China. But he was being beaten by the best from Africa, and they slowed down to let him win. And then one of them crazies from Kenya admits to, I think, reporters, well, I let him win because he's my friend. Ain't no way. Any of y'all listening to me, we can be all the friends in the world. When you put me in a competitive position, we gonna compete, because I think that those people who are regular athletes have to try to or at least are held up to a high standard to compete professionally and do the right thing, because endorsements and stuff are on the line. These 3 dudes who were going to get 1st, 2nd, and 3rd place actually let this dude win on home soil. And when you look at, they say when you look at the clip and the footage, which I didn't, it was blatantly obvious that the 3 African guys were going to win. There's not enough friendship for this. There are 2 things going around about this right now. Number one, it's already being speculated by people who read the story, because I'm not going to say what the committee who was judging the race said. They're just investigating, so they haven't fully found out. 2 things they're saying out of this. Either those 3 Africans got paid significantly and well enough to let that Chinese guy win. That's the likely scenario, that they got that cheddar to let him win. Or because they're out of their element, someone threatened them that if anybody got that far, they better slow down and let the Chinese win. Now understand, this is not an indictment on the entire Chinese community in no form or fashion. No Chinese national, no Chinese American, no anyone Chinese on the planet, okay? You can't be letting people win races in a competitive competition just because they're your friend. You're from Kenya. How are your people in your country gonna feel about the fact that you could have won a race but gave it to someone else? Maybe they will, maybe they won't care, because we know China has been expanding into Africa anyway. Who knows if that plays a role? And that could be a third thing. Is it possible that China has interest in Ethiopia and Kenya, and that's why this race was fixed? See, my biggest issue is sports has become so theatrical and such a crapshoot that you can't tell now who's faking it and who's not. It's not about the sport anymore. It's about theatrics. But tell me what y'all think. My answer is no before I ask you the question. Would you help fix a race and admit it just for someone you're friends with?